this is Manindrabu from Batam. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
I'm Sela Sadakau from Vatukola. I only listen to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold Naka, I'm Vale and I'm working at Golden Grove Resort, and I love listening to Gold FM because it plays a really wide range of classic music.
I'm Saini Sakio from Kashmir Wotoka. I like Gold FM, but only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
I'm Jackie Spade. This is FBC News. Tonight, New Zealand Prime Minister John Key arrives into Fiji. Public asked to play a major role in disaster awareness. And Fiji police forced to soon undergo restructure. New Zealand Prime Minister John Key landed at the Nausori airport this afternoon for a two-day official state visit. As Akosita Tale reports, this is the first visit by a New Zealand Prime Minister since 2006.
Fiji's return to democracy in 2014 and the rebuilding of political and diplomatic ties between New Zealand and Fiji has paved the way for Prime Minister John Key's historic visit. Key is the first sitting Prime Minister from New Zealand to visit Fiji in 10 years in a bid to rekindle the close relationship the two nations have had in the past. Key last week also said that Voreqe Bainimarama's military coup was ancient history and that he was going to Fiji because it returned to democracy when it held elections in 2014. He is in the country to meet with Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama, government officials as well as opposition leader Rotemu Mokepa. The agenda for the official visit will include bilateral discussions, which is expected to cover a range of issues, including the post-TC Winston recovery and PACER Plus negotiations. Discussions will also be around the support for former New Zealand Prime Minister Helen Clark's bid for UN Secretary General to replace Ban Ki-moon. Prime Minister Key will also visit a number of New Zealand-funded projects. However, with all eyes on the visit, suspended opposition MP Tupondo Nindalo has seemed not too happy with Key's visit, having earlier today tweeted advising him to be a good friend, stick to New Zealand politics. However, the word on the street differs.
It's a positive move. We are heading somewhere. We at least, we usually see Australia and New Zealand as our big brothers.
Probably, it's good for the nation as a whole. We understand, like past years and now, we are fortunate that even what Winston brings, it brings together all the community, even in the Pacific, to come together as one. And now New Zealand is opening up, the Prime Minister is here. We are very fortunate to have him back here in Fiji.
This is not their first meet. He first met with Mr. Bainimarama in September last year while the two leaders were at the United Nations General Assembly. In the aftermath of tropical cyclone Winston, New Zealand committed $15 million of aid and deployed more than 500 Defence Force personnel to some of the hardest hit areas. He is scheduled to leave the country tomorrow afternoon. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
We now cross live to Akosita in Suva. Akosita, you have been following the arrival of John Key from this afternoon. Are you able to tell us what's happening right now since his arrival into the capital?
Yes, Jackie, Honorable John Key arrived into the country at 4:20 p.m. this afternoon. He met Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama and other senior government officials, where he inspected the Guard of Honor that was made up of 100 members of the Republic of Fiji military forces. We're now here at the Valnimbose complex, here at the Nasova ground in Nasese, where, as you can see behind me, a traditional ceremony is being accorded to Honorable John Key by the Tikina, the Vanua of Nakelo from the province of Tailevu. Jackie, fruitful discussions are expected from tonight, and surely rekindling of ties that had been severed in the last 10 years. From here, we're moving on to GPH Hotel, where our Fijian Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama is expected to host a cocktail reception and a banquet for our visiting New Zealand delegation who are in the country for 2 days state visit. Back to you, Jackie.
Thanks so much for that update, Akosita. Disasters do happen and people will need to prepare accordingly. As the country moves towards recovery mode after tropical cyclone Winston, the Ministry of National Disaster Management is pleading for the improvement of the level of preparedness from the public. Ali Kimbia has the details.
Disasters will become more common than ever in the future, and the onus is on people to take necessary precautions to avoid such devastating destructions and loss of life.
There are going to be more disasters in the future, and the intensity is going to increase as well. Cyclone Winston is a perfect example of what we will experience. So this is going to be the new norm for tomorrow, and we need to prepare ourselves accordingly.
The devastation caused by tropical cyclone Winston has shown area of weakness in the level of preparedness.
Likewise, there are weaknesses as well, and we admit the fact that there are some areas that need to be addressed, and that is why we're doing all these debriefs, so that we can still aim for efficiency and do better when we come across the next disaster.
Meanwhile, campaigns have already started by various non-government organizations to create more awareness of such devastation caused by natural disasters,
which really demonstrates the resilience and the leadership of rural women willing to come together to strategize about the immediate response, and now, of course, as we assess our work, looking forward to the long-term recovery.
The Ministry of National Disaster Management has revealed that they have completed the post-disaster needs assessment, and government is currently working on the recovery framework. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
The Fiji Police Force is overdue for restructure. This was revealed to FBC News by the Police Commissioner, Brigadier General Sitiven Ngilio. Sainiani Boila has more.
The Fiji Police Force has got assistance from the government to relook at the operations of the whole force.
The support of government in regards to that, to get the force restructured, so it reflects what we have on the ground. We have newly created units that are not reflected in the structure, so promotions that should be happening to those people are not happening, so it affects morale. So that those are some of the things I'm trying to address now.
Gilio says he is very happy with the budget consultation so far and is looking forward to a great financial year in 2017.
Most of the other things you will see that the budget come out very shortly, and we can make further comment on how I'll tackle the next year. But it's a good, interesting budget that we've held consultations with, and so far I'm happy with what we've consulted on, and I'm waiting for the black and white of that to come out.
Gilio adds the Fiji Police Force will always strive to be the best in serving the people of Fiji and ensure safety and security of all at all times. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Senior students of secondary school in Vanolevu today got an opportunity of a lifetime to tell government what they should be included in the 2017 budget. Eleanor Rangai reports this is part of the budget consultations being held around the country.
With less than 2 weeks remaining until the 2017 budget is announced, government is trying its utmost best to gather views and inputs from a wide cross-section of the community on what should be in next year's budget. Today, school students across Vanolevu got that chance.
My question is it possible for the government to set up training centers for sports such as rugby, netball and soccer, so that those students who have special talents in these areas are also able to achieve their dreams instead of relying on overseas scholarships, which are limited in number and cater for the elite athletes only?
In the village, there is no electricity, so the school provided electricity for them. And now the bridge is not there, so the students cannot come to school and study there. So, we would like today's government to reconstruct a bridge for us.
I'd like to request if more grants can be provided to schools with less number of students. More grants is given to schools with high number of students, but it is unfair because more developments and better facilities are with schools with higher number of students.
22 secondary schools across the Kaunrawe, Mbua and Madhuata were part of this first ever consultation for secondary school students, just a few days after the business community held a similar one here in Lambasa. Attorney General and Minister for Finance Ayaz Said Kayum assured the students that the issues they've raised will be factored into the 2017 budget.
We are here today because we want to hear your views. We want to know what do you think should be in the budget? Because when you say what should be in the budget, you are telling us what are your priorities.
The students also learned about how a budget is compiled, its components, as well as what goes on during the budget announcement. The 2017 budget will be announced on the 22nd of this month. Eleanor Turangayu, FBC News.
Coming up on FBC News, Ministry's new fight against social issues. And clashes in PNG leaves many injured. Stay with us.
FM rocks.
My name is Denasa and I'm from Lutoka and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Wulamila. I work at Golden Point Resort. I love listening to Today FM. It rocks in Raki Raki.
I'm Mary from Mandera. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
We love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Violence against women and children, together with disability awareness, is becoming a major social issue for Fiji and other Pacific nations. Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Josefa Koroivueta, says it has become a national issue which is a major concern. Kelly Vavala has the details.
Domestic violence and abuse against women and children has been labelled a national shame.
Members of our family are somewhat disturbed by the number of reports on domestic violence and abuse of women and children. No longer secret, but it's something that the Honourable PM has mentioned as a national shame and also a matter of great national concern. Violence, we should speak out against it. We should all ensure that perpetrators are put to shame. It is dehumanizing for any members of our land to be subjected to such horrible, criminal and shameful act.
Dr. Josefa Koroivueta also launched 6 vehicles with awareness messages on disability and elimination of violence against women and children.
This is probably the best way or the best method to conduct advocacy and awareness for persons with disability. People look at it, it basically changes their mindset as well. Cognitive perception is basically changed because of the message that they see almost every day, day in, day out. So when we look at it, this is a big step forward.
The ministry, through its Intergency Task Force, together with agencies like UN Women, non-government organizations like Fiji Women's Crisis Center and Fiji Police, are working hand in hand in the elimination of violence against women and children. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Police are now considering dental records to confirm the identity of a corpse that was found in a burnt car in Lautoka yesterday morning. Police spokesperson Ananai Soro says they recovered a piece of clothing on the body. However, this was not enough to make a conclusive identification. The body was burnt beyond recognition and police have been unable to ascertain whether the body is male or female. The gruesome find was discovered at the Fiji Sugar Corporation compound opposite Marine Drive in Lautoka. Police have, however, confirmed that the vehicle belongs to Vinod Patel and Company Limited. FBC News understands that the body could be that of a senior employee of the hardware company. Police investigations are continuing. 31 people living in rural areas today received their refunds under the Rural Electrification Refund Scheme. Government has set aside $700,000 for the project to ensure all Fijians have access to electricity. Savara Tambua has more.
The recipient says it was a great relief for them to have got the refund since most of them are unemployed.
I'd like to thank the government and the ministers for being pay back our contribution to fund. So I'm very happy about it.
Very happy when I received this check because of the government giving us the free power now.
Minister for Infrastructure Praveen Kumar Bala has assured all who are eligible for refund will soon be catered for.
In 2015 budget, there was an announcement that from 2016, government will bear all the cost. So the reason why we have asked you to come here is firstly to say sorry for the delay in giving out your money. Okay? We are sorry that it has taken us so much time to refund your money. And secondly, to advise you that by September, all those who are here, your projects will be completed.
A total of 800 recipients will be given refunds under this program. According to Bala, the second batch will collect their checks in Osori next week. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
Members of the Fijian Media Association gathered today at the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation to present their irengu-rengu to one of their colleagues, the late Malakai Veisamasama. Veisamasama is a well-known sports journalist with Fiji Communications Limited. Fijian Media Association executive Stanley Simpson says Veisamasama had contributed enormously to the association and will always be remembered.
Two areas in particular where he had great influence was in the vernacular Fijian radio with the pioneering efforts of VTFM and also with his sports commentary, sports reporting and commentary, which he understood very thoroughly the Fiji sports industry.
Veisamasama is survived by his wife and 5 children. He will be laid to rest this Saturday at the Watuanga Cemetery. Dozens of people were wounded in Papua New Guinea after police opened fire on a student demonstration in the capital and riots erupted across the country. However, officials said earlier reports of up to 4 dead were incorrect. A groundswell of political unrest in recent weeks has surged in the country amid calls for Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to resign over corruption allegations. Students and officials said police fired on the public and used tear gas to disperse crowds during a protest at the University of PNG's Waingani campus in Port Moresby. Protests were later reported in the PNG highland cities of Ngoroka and Mount Hagen and in Lae on the north coast. We turn to sports now, and Jamie joins us with the very latest.
Nakajaki, and good evening in sports after the break. McKee names Flying Fijians team to face Tonga. And Fiji Fact tickets go on sale. This and more coming up.
आपको खरगंगा की रंजिला का नमस्कार। रेडियो फिजी की सुंदर सुंदर यादों का खजाना एकदम बचपन के दिन याद करा देते हैं।
हमारा नाम जोनी नायडू है, हम रहता है मलोरो में और हम टैक्सी ड्राइवर है। हम सब टाइम अपन टैक्सी में रेडियो फिजी सुनता प्रोग्राम।
हम सिंगाटोका के हैं, हमारा नाम है रोजी, हम लोग यहाँ पे रेडियो फिजी 2 सुनता है।
राम राम, मैं रेमस प्रसाद बोलता हूँ, तब वहाँ में कोई रहता हूँ। मैं जब भी सुना रेडियो फिजी 2 ही सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Vodafone Flying Fijians coach John McKee has named an experienced starting team to take on Tonga in the Pacific Nations Cup opener, with 2 players set to make their debut. Otago's Naulian Dawai will earn his first cap for the national team on Saturday in the number 6 jersey, and as expected, the other debutant will be Highlanders wing Patrick Osborne. Offload master Leonena Karawa and Tivita Davumbati pair up at locks. Skipper Sunia Koto, Kempizi Mafu and Leroy Atalifo will lead the pack in the front row. McKee has also made some positional switches in the backs, with Fiji 7's wing Samisoni Viriviri starting at fullback. Meanwhile, John McKee says players were closely monitored during the season and have been picked on form, and is hopeful the side will give it their all on Saturday. Vasanil Prasad with more.
Surrounded by a bunch of experienced players is New Zealand-based forward Naulian Dawai, who is ready to make his debut for the Flying Fijians.
DY comes from, he's been playing in Otago, he's been in New Zealand for a number of years now, from Nandi originally, and he's really impressed me in following him in the ITM Cup with Otago, and with his training, he's been outstanding in the training.
Arriving yesterday and starting into the lineup is Andrew Ndelai, who replaces Fiji's 7-star Savena Darawada.
He's played for us before, he understands our game system. I've been watching him closely in playing in Pro de Deux in France, so I'm well aware of his form this season. It was unfortunate that Rawatha, his infection is still holding him back, so he's not fit for this week, so he wasn't considered. So it opened the door for Andrew to come in.
31-year-old Nemia Songeta says despite players being committed overseas, Fiji has an equally good team as the last year's World Cup.
It's very exciting putting the boys together, even though we don't have much of the players that were here since World Cup in the PNC, but we have faith in the boys that we have, especially the like of those boys, Nakarawa and Tevita. They just add more momentum into the group.
Expect a high-profile performance from the Flying Fijians. The 15 named is a shadow of last year's World Cup team, with only 5 changes to the starting lineup, including 2 debutants. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
Flying Fijian skipper Sunia Koto is ready to lead his men through the Pacific Nations Cup. While the captaincy role is not new to Koto, he wants to live up to the standards set by his predecessor. Vashnil Prasad again with this report.
Billy.
Leading by example, Flying Fijian skipper Sunia Koto is still going stronger as ever, making yet another appearance for the national team.
Well, I feel honoured to lead a bunch of great men, great players, and I thank the coaches for having faith in me and to lead this team throughout this PNC campaign.
The 32-year-old hooker has pushed aside all the barriers to remain in the top form. Skipper Sunia Koto knows the job at hand is a tough one, but he believes his experience will carry him through in guiding the Flying Fijians in the PNC.
The captaincy role isn't new for me. I've taken up captaincy throughout my club and Warriors, and but it's good to. Ngera is a great captain. I'll be different in a way, but I guess the objective is always the same.
The players are also confident and support Koto in his bid to lead the charge on Saturday.
I think he's probably the perfect man to lead the team. He actually put people in place. He tells the boys what needs to be done, and everyone works together as a group.
The 32-cap veteran knows too well being the captain comes with a lot of expectations, and he's up for the challenge as our team defends its PNC title. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
Tickets for next weekend's Vodafone Fiji Fact are on sale at the Fiji Football Academy in Watuanga, Suva. Tickets will also be available at Subrel Park from 9 a.m. on Saturday and from the Lambasa Town Council office from Monday. Spectators will pay $10 for Pavilion A, B and C, and ticket prices for a child is $4. In Pavilion D and E, ticket prices for an adult is $7, while a child will have to pay $3. On the embankment, an adult will pay $5, while a child pays $2.
Well, there has been a lot of hype up, and people are inquiring as to when the tickets will be available, particularly in Lambasa. We are expecting a sort of a bumper crowd on the day one and follow on, and it's wise for people to buy the ticket in advance because it has limited capacity.
The Fiji Fact kicks off next Friday with Suva playing Lautoka in the first match at 1 p.m. The 2016 Oceania Tennis Championships in Suva came to an end today. This year's event has been classed as the best for Fijian players, with the national reps breaking a 16-year medal drought. Rohit Deo with the details.
Fiji didn't only win a medal after 16 years, but also finished third overall behind Australia and New Caledonia.
The Fiji players have been great. They've probably finished third in the medal tally, which is a great effort. This is the first time they've won medals, so it goes well for things like the Mini Pacific Games and the Pacific Games. I think they've put up a great show. They've had some stiff opposition from Australia and New Caledonia.
Results-wise, this has been Fiji's best performance at the Oceania Meet. The development of the sport is expected to take a positive turn from here.
I see it as a revival of tennis in Fiji, and I am only hoping it'll keep on growing. And it's wonderful to see lots of other countries here battling it out on the courts. And overall, the winner is tennis.
14 players represented Fiji at the 8-day meet. Fiji is hopeful to host the 2018 championships as well. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
And in the OFC Nations Cup, New Zealand will play host Papua New Guinea in the final after edging New Caledonia 1-0 in the first semi-final last night. In the second semi-final, host Papua New Guinea shocked the Solomon Islands 2-1. PNG drew first blood, but the Solomons pulled back with an impressive goal from a corner kick. The hosts then managed their late goal also from the corner to book its spot in its first Nations Cup final. The final will be played at 6 p.m. this Saturday. That's it from Sports Tonight. Good evening.
A local businessman who is making a name for himself in the shipping and tourism sector in the Western Maritime region says there is a great need for government agencies to harness its service delivery. Don Bruce, the owner of Coral View Resort and Yalondu Shipping Services, says operations continue to stall for those in the Northern Yasawa group because of this. Madium Bolaitamana was in Yasawa this week with this report.
When it comes to shipping services in the Yasawas, Don Bruce knows all too well what is required to get the job done. But the seasoned seafarer and hotelier says there are areas that are still lacking in service delivery.
The MSF, the process is too slow. It takes too long, and it affects most of us in the island people, island operation. I'll take, for example, last week, the barge, one of the barges in Laudoka, that's supposed to bring staffs around for the hotels. They have to be hauled up just because their papers was not signed.
Bruce says the Marine Safety Authority of Fiji would do well if it understands the plight of those having to cut cargo and passengers to the further reaches of the region.
To better up the process of the issuing of license, the certificates, service certificates and all this. So they make it easier for us.
Operating his Coral View Hotel out of Tavao Island in Nadula for the last 26 years, he says that a concern for the tourism industry is the levies and taxes heaved upon them by the state.
Too much for us. We can continue to be paying this. It's too heavy for us. And the operation cost of running resorts like this out on the island is very high with the tax.
Bruce says he is hopeful government will look into the plight of those in the Northern Yasawas as they continue to sell Fiji to the rest of the world. Madium Bolaitamana, FBC News.
It was a fine day once again with a mix of sun and clouds and brief showers about the interior of Vitilevu. Lambasa was the warmest at 33 degrees while Nandi and Savu was a bit cool at 31, whereas the rest of the major centres were comfortable in the lower 30s. Tomorrow it looks much like today with skies remaining hazy and brief early morning showers over the eastern parts of the country. Looking ahead to the weekend, expect heavier rainfalls and cooler nights. At sea, northerly winds gusting up to 25 knots. For the rest of Fiji waters, expect southerly winds up to 15 knots, moderate to rough seas. Recapping the main stories from tonight's bulletin, New Zealand Prime Minister John Key has arrived into Fiji for a two-day visit. The public has been asked to play a major role in disaster awareness and restructure and pipeline for the Fiji police force. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. And onto this week's poll question, we are asking, are you happy with the new venue for the Hibiscus Festival? To answer, visit our FBC website. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Good night.
Although we'll take you on a TV and a market tawa. Although Talitana Warong and Bula FM and number 2 and a set.
Pulamana Viti, Nadango Palacio Materia, one may Nana Bulu Tabiuni, Ausatuga Nandi, and the Talita in Warong and a Bula FM.
Bula FM number 2 and seri.